everybody, I'm Merisu the Art Sheep, and thank you so much for checking out this video, and today I'm drawing Ariel from Disney's The Little Mermaid. Yay! My favorite Disney princess! I love drawing her, and if anyone's actually subscribed to my channel already, then they probably already know that I've already been working on her. I started this drawing actually last year. I actually did the background for it in a live stream and such, and it was supposed to come out last year, but then when Christmas came around, I started getting really busy. I wanted to work on some other things, so I just put it to the side, and then I was going to do it like right at the beginning of the new year, but I really wanted my first drawing to be of some original art. I usually do enjoy my first drawing of the year being original art. I don't know why, it's just a little tradition. So because of that, I just decided to put this on the back burner, and like I said, I decided to work on it now. And I gotta say, I am really happy with this drawing. The background isn't bad. Like, I gotta fix the window seat perspective a little bit. I asked my very knowledgeable brother his opinion, and yeah, the perspective is a little off. I didn't really realize how off it was until after I was finished, and I didn't end up recording that, so that's not going to be in it. But rather than that, I am really happy with this drawing. It was so fun to color. It was just very relaxing. It was very nice. I was trying to go for a style that's more reminiscent to the artist Orange Sekai and another artist whose name escapes me at the moment. Oh, darn. I have no clue. I want to say N. Mori, but I know that's not right. So I'm gonna wait and see if it comes to me in a bit. But yeah, I was just trying to go for a very, I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. Words come to my head that allow me to explain my art, and then when I realized that I'm saying those words to other people, I'm like, okay, maybe this is a language that only makes sense to me. It just doesn't make sense when I say it out loud. But I guess creamy, I guess, is what I'm going for, where everything's very it's very smooth, but it's not quite as shiny as other things. It blends together. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. Calling your art creamy just sounds weird. Like, really weird. Oh boy. Anyway, for the dress, you're probably wondering, what kind of dress am I drawing her in? Because this doesn't look like the usual dress, and you've probably already seen the thumbnail, and so you already know it's different. And yeah, I designed this dress all by myself because here's the thing, I love Ariel. I absolutely love everything about her, except for one thing, her dress. I hate her dress. I love the silhouette. The silhouette is beautiful, but the color is just like meh. When I was younger, I did not like pink really at all. I think it was just because everything was pink for girls, and I was just like, no, I don't like pink. I like blue. I've always loved blue. And I've loved various of shades of blue. There are very few shades of blue that I do not like. Even like gray blue, like, which would probably be my least favorite color of blue. There are some shades that just look absolutely stunning and beautiful. So yeah, blue, definitely my favorite shade. But I wasn't really gonna go for a straight up blue dress. I wanted to go for more of a teal color, because that is what I think Ariel looks best in. So that is what I decided to do the dress. And actually, if I remember correctly, there is actually a version of her pink dress that's been a little bit more modern, Disney-fied, so it's got more glitter and fancy, and it's more fantasy. Like, the pink dress is already pretty fantasy and such, but it's even more devoid of any realism in that version. And they made it a turquoise color to make it stand out. And I really did like that, but I just think it looked a little too modern. It's the one thing I've noticed with some of the Disney princess designs. I'm gonna rank them someday because I saw someone else do it and then I realized I should probably do it myself because I'd be great at it. Why? Because it's my opinion. That's why. It's as simple as that, folks. But yeah, I do want to try that sometime because that sounds absolutely fun to rank the Disney princess dresses. And I gotta say, Ariel's original dress, probably F tier. Okay, maybe not F tier. I have seen worse in the Disney princess catalog. They're not coming to my mind though. It's only Ariel's. Yeah, I just don't like it. So, what can I say about the dress that could be using improvement outside of the silhouette? Well, outside of the silhouette, I would say that color. Outside of the color, look as words, what are they? Okay, so outside of the color, what else would I change about the dress? Like I said, I really do like the silhouette. Like, I used to hate puff sleeves when I was younger. Now as an adult, I really do like them. They're really, just really pretty. I just don't know what it is about them, especially because, like I said, I didn't like them as a kid. So it's just really funny that I go about doing a complete 180 with that life. It really is that way. Torina Aqua, that's the artist who I was trying to think of. So Orange Seke and Torina Aqua, that was the two big major inspirations. Sorry, I just checked because it was like in the back of my head and it was really getting on my nerves that I couldn't figure out who it was. So yeah, Torina Aqua and Orange Seke, two amazing, amazing artists, way more amazing than me. Check them out. They're on Twitter and the Instagram. Well, I think Torina Aqua's on Instagram. I'm not sure if I follow Torina Aqua on Instagram though. Orange Seke is on both though. And yeah, definitely amazing artist. So anyway, back to the dress. The dress's silhouette, I can safely say that I would improve, like, I made the sleeves actually even more puffier, believe it or not, and another thing that I did is I just kind of gave it more frills and foofs. So I gave it, like, this front part. I was inspired by that from looking at several different fan arts, and then also this one reconstruction I saw of, like, a proper 1800s Little Mermaid dress, historically accurate or whatnot, and it looks so lovely. And I love the colors, as was this light seafoam green and this kind of turquoise color and aqua, and it just looked really, really, really nice, and I loved it. So that was kind of an inspiration with it there as well. And then also, there was one other thing. Oh yeah, her mermaid tail. Duh. I gave it this like sheer kind of frill at the bottom to kind of represent her fins, and then I gave the top part kind of a seashell-y vibe to make it look like her seashell bra that she wears when she's a mermaid, because I really do like it. And for some reason it's very hard for me to draw. I don't know why. For some reason I've never ever been able to get her seashell bra done properly. It always looks weird. It never looks right. And apparently putting on a dress doesn't help. I thought, okay, maybe it's just bras I'm bad at drawing, but no, it's the shape of the lines. It's like, ugh. But whatever. I did it, and it looked nice. I wanted to give her, like, for jewelry, I wanted to give her jewelry that was very reminiscent of the ocean, so pearls and seashells, but I didn't want to give her an overabundant amount of jewelry. I wanted to keep things more simple and kind of minimalistic, but at the same time I wanted to definitely look very pretty and such. I basically want this entire setup to kind of feel like Ariel above in the human world. So I made this room look very reminiscent of her grotto. So you got the candlestick, you got a globe, you got a compass, you got a random jewel, just things that I believed Ariel would collect if she was in a room. And then I gave her an atlas on her lap. It's not a book, it's an atlas. So if anyone thinks, why is she reading? Isn't reading Bella's hobby? Yes, reading is Belle's hobby, and if I get around to drawing Belle, I'm probably going to draw her not reading, but point being is that I would not draw Ariel just normally reading, because that is Belle's hobby. So instead, she is looking at an atlas. She is looking at the world that she has open to her. So, yeah. I also made her kick off her high heels because, I don't know, it just seems like Ariel would really like wearing high heels, but at the same time get kind of bored of them eventually because it'd be very different. But especially for going into the original idea of the Little Mermaid. I think I said this in last time I drew Ariel, but I actually am aware, well, of course I'm aware now, but as a kid I was aware of the original Little Mermaid's plot. I read it all the time by my grandma, because my first introduction to the Little Mermaid was, of course, Disney's Little Mermaid, and because of that, I just loved the Little Mermaid. I loved everything about it, so I just wanted to read it, and my grandma had this big collection of fairy tale books, and one of them was the original Little Mermaid. I don't think it was, word for word, because it was a picture book, but it still kept, the ending of her dying, turning to sea foam, and then being lifted up into heaven or whatnot. And, she needed to kill the prince. So it definitely kept all the dark elements to it. I'm just not... I have to look at it again and compare it to the actual copy of The Little Mermaid that I have now to see if it is word for word. But I'm pretty sure it was very close. And like I said, it kept all the dark elements. So because of that, I was always aware of how dark the original Little Mermaid was. But it didn't bother me that the Disney version was, the more lighter, toned down version, because I loved it, and nothing changed about it. So it was just really nice having both versions be so prevalent in my life. And so because of that, I know what it was like for her when she danced. It was like knives. So I guess that's another reason why I decided to make her shoe be off. Or that I just had a hankering to draw feet. I don't know. No, that wasn't it. That wasn't it at all, I swear. I had a real trouble with the colors. Like I said, I mostly wanted to keep it in the vein of turquoise, teal, aqua, a little bit of green, but I wanted to put a little bit of purple in it, just because purple is it's not a dominant color in her, obviously, but it is a very noticeable color in her color scheme, so I just could not give her purple. That was the one thing that I always found funny about the Disney princesses, is later on when they became an official lineup, they decided to give each one of the girls a color, and so Snow White was red, because of the high contrast of her red bow and her cape. Cinderella was blue, because they kind of transformed her dress to be more blue instead of the diamondy whitish blue that it was in the original movie. Belle was, of course, yellow. I don't know why I went out of order. Aurora was pink, because she has a pink dress, she has a blue dress, and a long time ago she was advertised more in her blue dress. She was even, put in her, a purple dress a couple of times in some promotional artwork. But nonetheless, they picked pink because they didn't have any pink. And Ariel was aqua, and Jasmine was made to be purple. I always found that funny. They even put her in a purple dress, a purple variant of her outfit, in Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar. But she doesn't wear purple until the end, so I did find that funny, but she does look nice in purple. But later on, it kind of went back to being kind of a bluish. I think that's one reason why, is because Jasmine and Ariel's colors are kind of very similar. I would say Jasmine's are more bluer compared to Ariel's, but nonetheless, they both look very lovely, and I love them. And I would not want Ariel to be associated with blue or turquoise or aqua. It wasn't until Rapunzel did they get an official purple Disney princess. And then Tiana, that helped them, was like an official green Disney princess. And I think I was saying this earlier, but I ended up losing my train of thought. Like I said, that was the biggest problem that I hated with some of the outfit changes when they came over to the official Disney princess line, is sometimes they would change the style of the Disney princesses, and I would just not like it. Like, I hate Cinderella's hairstyle in some of them, because it's definitely trying to be more of a modern, messy bun instead of what it was. I love her bun in the original Cinderella movie. I love the outfits in them because they're always harkening back to the popular trends of the times that the films were made, but they also did take some inspirations from the times that the Disney princess movies were supposed to take place in. You can see that especially prevalent with The Little Mermaid, because, like with Ariel's dress, it's definitely harkening to the 1800s, which is roughly around when The Little Mermaid's supposed to take place, the late 1800s to be precise. If I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong. And so her dress is definitely inspired off of common fashion trends, high fashion trends of that time. And her wedding dress is also very much call back to that style as well. But they're also call back to the style in the 80s. And in the 80s, big puff sleeves were kind of coming back in style. I should know. I have family members who were married in the 80s, and they wore those wedding dresses. It was everywhere. It really was. It was just very funny. And like I said, it's funny because I didn't used to like puff sleeves as a kid. I don't know why. I think it just kind of played with my brain. I was like, why do you have balls on your arms? It didn't make sense to me. It was weird, but like I said, somewhere down the line, I actually ended up liking it. It's the same thing with Snow White's back collar. I forget what it's called. The white thing that she wears. I hated that as a kid. I was like, what the flying flip is that? I didn't say that, but I was just like, I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what it was there for. It looked weird, and I was just like, no, get it off her. But now as an adult, not even really adult. I think later on as a teen, something happened. It was just like a total 180. I was like, oh wow, that actually looks really nice. I even gave that detail to Misato whenever I draw her up as Snow White, because like I said, I love it actually. I like it now. So it's funny how our styles change. So anyway, like I said, for the background, I was really trying to get it looking like her grotto. The only thing I would say is I wish I would have put more stuff on it. I didn't really know what to do with her right side. It just kind of looked empty, and I wanted to put more things there, but I just didn't really know what to do. I didn't want to distract from Ariel, but at the same time, I didn't want to leave it empty. So in the end, I just left it empty. I know, I should have probably put something there, but I didn't. And who knows, maybe when I upload it, you might see something there. You might. But, for now, it's empty, so you won't see it on the Speedpaint. This is why you should always check out the post on my socials, because you never know what's gonna change or whatnot. But yeah, like I said, overall, this was just a really fun drawing to do, because it was just a time where I can embrace all of my girlhood fantasies. So you got, like, a whole bunch of things that I like. You got the clear night sky full of stars. You got a decorative, ornate room. You got a pretty princess in a poofy dress that is at least close to being blue. It's not blue, but to be fair, I think Ariel looks better in kind of the greenish blues. hues than she does the actual blues. Sets off her eyes better. Which, I said this detail a gazillion bajillion times, but I'm gonna say it again here. I love drawing and coloring red hair. I absolutely love it. So every single time I am coloring Ariel's hair, like, it's kind of hard to draw the swoopy part of her bang. That for some reason that kind of was always a little bit of a hard thing for me to draw. I could never get it right. But once I get it actually drawn, it's like just so fun to color. So fun. And I wish I had a character with red hair. The closest character I got is Miss Sada Yoshoko, and she doesn't have red hair. She has black hair, although you wouldn't be able to tell that either because it kind of looks a little more purplish with the cyan, magenta, and yellow bangs. But nonetheless, it's supposed to be black, even though it looks kind of purple. It's the one time I didn't make something jet black in terms of hair, so it's weird, but whatever, we won't talk about that. She wears a wig when she's in disguise because her appearance is very noticeable, so sometimes she doesn't want to be noticed, so she wears a wig. But I kind of changed the wig a little bit, so it's not even like red, it's more of a magenta-y, reddish, pinkish color. I might go back and change it a little bit more red, just because I liked it better red, because I need a character with red hair. I love red hair. It's such a blast to color, and it's just so easy. I don't know why. It's so, like, I've never had any trouble. And now that I'm saying it, I probably will. But for the most part, it's always been so fun to color. Like, when it comes to the shadows, the lighting, it's just like, there's no second guessing with it. I just know where everything should be. I know how everything's gonna work out. And it's just so fun. And I absolutely adore it. And I love coloring it. And Ariel is definitely probably one of my favorite characters to color the red hair with, because it's so bright and vibrant, and I just love it. It's obvious why they made it that red, because they wanted to stand out against the ocean, but I really am glad they picked it. And, yeah, they did a good job with it, because now, anytime you see a mermaid, she almost always has a blue or green tail, red hair, and blue eyes. The only ever kind mermaid design that would come close to being as popular would be, like, pink tail, blonde hair, and blue eyes, I guess. But, I don't know, Ariel's design's pretty iconic. Probably one of the most iconic out of all the Disney princesses, I'm gonna be honest. And I'm not just saying it because I love her, but just because, like I said, of the way her design is, it's become practically synonymous. My dog just yawned. It's become pretty synonymous. Wait, that's you? I thought that was... Okay. I thought it was my girl dog that was sitting next to me, but no, it's my boy dog. Anyway, it's become synonymous with mermaids, so because of that, I would say it's safe to say that Ariel's is probably the most iconic out of all of them. I would say probably the one that comes the closest would probably be Snow White's, because a lot of times when I've seen anybody make Snow White, they almost always put the red, yellow, and blue in it. And it's always in the same, like, proportions of color, so the most yellow with some blue accents, and then some red, like, really eye-catching points, whatnot. I don't know the proper terminology at this time of the morning, so please forgive me. But yeah, I would definitely say Ariel is up there, close to being one of the most iconic Disney princesses in designs, which is why it's such a sin that her daughter looks so bad. Like, there are some things that I've completely done a 180 for as I grew up in reaching teen years and then adulthood, such as puff sleeves, the white frilly thing on the back of Snow White's dress that I can't think of the name of, my opinion on certain types of high heels, even those, like, head covering thingies that they wore in medieval times. I thought they looked weird, but now as an adult, I just like, oh, those actually look kind of nice, they're done right. Certain types of crowns, it's like, my opinion, they changed. My opinion has not changed on Ariel's daughter, Melody. Like, My opinions also changed kind of the Little Mermaid #2. I haven't watched in years. I gotta probably rewatch it to see if it's as bad or if it's as good as I remember. I remember one time a couple of years ago, I watched it and I was like, oh, I like this, but this is kind of bad. And it's just like, it's just like, I like her hair, because it's like, okay, she's nice. She actually looks, like a mix between Eric and Ariel, and that's nice. I love black hair, so I love her hair. I like the fact that it's in a ponytail, so it's like long and flowy and such. I liked that, and it was nice. I just didn't like the tail, and I didn't like any dress that she wore. Like, who picked that out? That is the most... She looks like salmon. Was that what you were going for? To make her look like salmon? I get it. By then, the Disney princess line was pretty much already established, so they want to pick a color that's not like the rest of them. But you could have picked green. You could have picked purple. Like a different shade of purple than Jasmine's. You could have picked anything. But you picked this pinkish, fleshy color that looks like salmon. She looks like a fish, which she technically is half a fish later on in the movie, but why? I don't understand. It just looks awful. Ugh. I hated it. And my opinion has not changed on it. But the one thing I will say about Ariel is that she is the only Disney princess who actually has a kid. So that's why I like her. She got married and she had a kid. So, big points for her. Yay. Which means, technically, Ariel's the only Disney princess who they acknowledge, Bow, chicka, wow. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. Or we're going to keep this mature. I don't know why. I'm not mature. But, yeah, like I said, this drawing was a blast to work on. The colors were all so fun to play around with. The hair was nice. I love the way that I did the style of the dress. I think it came along pretty nicely, especially considering the fact that I had so much trouble with the seashell part. And I gave it like a nice pattern because I wanted it to be more detailed than what the movie has. It makes sense why they don't put patterns on dresses in movies. That would be a nightmare to work with. But I was just like, ooh. I was watching Anastasia. Not watching it. I was looking up a clip of Anastasia. Which is not a Disney movie, by the way. It's a 20th Century Fox movie. It was just stolen by Disney when they bought 20th Century Fox. So, there. But I was watching a clip of Anastasia, and I was just looking at the backgrounds, and it was like, they're so beautiful. Like I said, in terms of probably movie enjoyment, I do like The Little Mermaid more. Anastasia's very even, though. So, yeah, Anastasia and Little Mermaid are pretty much even. But if I did have to pick one, probably Little Mermaid, just because I saw it first, and it was a big influence in my childhood. But later on, very quickly, Anastasia also became it. But the thing is with Anastasia and also Sleeping Beauty, which would be my second favorite Disney princess, the thing about their movies is that they're very elegant and very beautiful and very, they've got a very specific style to them, and I love it. They are both, literally what I would call moving art in the highest degree. And it's just such a shame that we do not have that. I was even thinking, because I was really trying to think hard, okay, is there any movie that I've seen from the West, so not anything anime, that has come close to the level of detail and beauty that Anastasia or Sleeping Beauty has? No. I mean, Wish should have been like that, but Wish was a disaster. I hated Wish. I would say Encanto was pretty beautiful. I mean, it was very gorgeous, and I loved all the colorful outfits and the style and such like that. It was very nice. But it just doesn't give me the same feeling that Sleeping Beauty and Anastasia did. And granted, maybe it's because the styles just also allow for it, since Anastasia takes place in like France and Russia and stuff, so everything was very ornate and very decorative. And Sleeping Beauty takes place in the Renaissance period, and the way that they specifically did the art style for it to look like a moving tapestry, it just kind of invokes more of an artistic vibe to me on a personal level, in my own opinion. So if you think I'm wrong, you are more than welcome to think that. And whereas Encanto is, like I said, I don't want to say it's not detailed. Like, the dresses are absolutely stunning in Encanto, and I do think Encanto is one of the more better Disney movies that I've seen in quite a while. I haven't seen Zootopia 2. I didn't like Zootopia 1. So, sorry about that. But, in the case of Encanto, it definitely was pretty. It's just that I just never had anything that's quite as pretty as those two movies. And I think that's sad, because it really is, seems that it's just kind of become forgotten about, and I hate it. In the case of Beauty and the Beast, it would also be the same for that, because me and my brother and mom, we were watching Cinderella for New Year's. I know I keep bouncing back and forth between the Disney princess movies, I'm sorry. But we were watching Cinderella, and we were just like, oh, so much detail, the level of animation, like, they had to do everything just the way that her hands move, and how, like, delicate they were drawn, and the effects on her dress, it was like, the sparkles, the glitter, the transformation, it was like, oh my goodness, I love it, and it's all gone. I think that's the biggest thing with Encanto, is the fact that I definitely can see the level of beauty and art that went into it. I'm not undermining it at all. But at the same time, I just really am a big fan. I love 2D animation, and the fact that it's all gone, just always makes me sad. And every time I see a 3D movie, I always just get a pit in my stomach saying, yep, never 3D movie. No appreciation for 2D. I don't know why. So it's just like, I really, really do get sad. Lion King's also never filmed that I realized how beautiful it was. Like, I always knew it looked nice, but I saw it recently, like, a clip of it, and it's just like, this is so beautiful. I really love it. I love the 2D animated Disney films. They were so pretty. And I hate Wish. I would have probably liked it. No. At least there would have been something that I could have appreciated if it was 2D. That would have probably not made me like the film. Like, if it was still the same garbage plot, I still would have hated it. But if it was 2D, at least there would have been something for me to latch onto. But there wasn't. Unlike this film, which I have loved ever since I was a little girl. Anyway, that was the drawing. I hope you liked it. If you did, do all the YouTube things. And if you did not, thank you so much for watching this far anyway. It means a lot to me either way. And I will be back with another one real soon, because I am in the works of one right now, currently as we speak on. So I'm going to go work on it. Bye!